Mark, I was very clear last conversation we had when I was telling you about my plans to take over that was a and B conversation between the two of us, and that was not to be discussed live on the air. You've turned out to be this is an on-air live betrayal. And now it's going to cost me my livelihood, my career. I'm going to go back to shoveling shit tomorrow. God damn it!
Well, the only thing that I have going for me here, and the reason why Greg will never be able to take over, is because this is a technology-heavy business. And even if he could figure out how to record one of these episodes without me, he would never be able to edit it. He'd be trying to stick a floppy disk, go to DOS and type in editing software and hoping the right thing would come up.
Greg would convert it into a newsletter on Microsoft Publisher.
Right. He would have to take a class at the community college to learn how to sign on to the internet.
No, sadly, the real truth is I would throw a complete temper tantrum like a fucking child, and I'd scream for my wife, who's 10 years younger than me, to come up and fix whatever the problem was. That's how I would react. I would react in a very immature way. I'd say, I wasn't fit to run this. I got to get Jeff back.
Well, as long as you come crawling back, that's all that matters.
I will. Okay. I'll be ready to suck up.
So does anybody else have any questions relevant to search and rescue for Mark? And then I want to get those out of the way because I really want to focus on this question that I came up with that I'm dying to ask. And I want all of our listeners to be able to really hear the answer here because I think this is the most important thing that we're going to talk about.
You can hit me with anything here, and I want to hear more mouth. I just got to say that before I want more mouth.
Well, you're about to because I've been instead of listening to people during their interviews, I come up with these wild scenarios in my head while they're talking because I'm pretty selfish, and so I think we're gonna be able to have some fun here with this. But anyway, does anybody else have any questions for Mark Hopkins, Philly Search and Rescue before we move on to something else?
No, I think I've talked to you enough, Mark. I know it all.
Do you have a case that you remember that you cannot get out of your brain that you could share a little bit about, or not really?
It's tough. It's not that I don't want to, but when I think about this and think about equating them, they all have components that make them massively important. And the emotional component's important in all of them, but they all have components that I forget what it was. Somebody quoted me. I said something that my best case is my last case. My most interesting case is my next case, and my most important case is the case I'm working on right now. And that stays the same throughout the history of doing it. And I'm learning from the cases I do to help with the cases that I'm going to do. And a lot of times, recovery is something that there's no way I can help that person beyond closing that case, but it can help me close the case quicker on the next one. So stories I could tell stories wherever. I mean, I have I could tell stories, but I can never tell stories where somebody says it's kind of like, tell me a joke. I go, I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're all important, and they're all memorable. And I remember everything I've seen during this job. I've had several instances on cases where I've been a part of working out, resolving major cases, and then at the end of it, I don't know where my car is. I've lost it during the course of the day and getting moved around and dropped off and picked up, and I'm standing in a Walmart parking lot in the middle of Pennsylvania going, I don't know where I left the car. I don't even know where I am right now.
Well, you've even been hit by passing cars even recently, correct, Mark?
I got clipped.
You got clipped on New Year's Eve. You got hit by a car.
It's just a clip. It happens to all of us.
Yeah.
It was Christmas Eve because Christmas wasn't rising to that level of stuff that it normally does for me. So that SUV just came out of nowhere and just clipped me while Grandma was texting.
It wasn't Santa Claus that clipped you, though.
No, I don't think. Santa Claus and I have not communicated in years. It's still a matter of a pony.
Of all the fictional characters in the history of the world to get on Mark's bad side, and it's Santa Claus.
Over the matter of a pony.
Right. Okay. So, Mounts, do you have anything else that you'd like to ask Mark?
No, you guys covered it.
Serious nature. Okay. So, here's this question that I have, and I've been thinking about this nonstop. It's been eating me alive. And we have a lot of things that we share in common. Like I found today that you're very much a creative, like we are in a lot of senses. But one thing I'll say that we differ very, very much is the fact that I try my hardest not to remember my job. I don't want to think of these people after we turn these cameras off. So I work very hard to do that. But what I've been dying to ask you is, are you better than the average person at hide and go seek?
I haven't played actual hide and go seek. I mean, I'm as a person that's in a relationship, I've done a modern same house version of it many times, and I think I could easily bring home a silver medal with that. But as far as when I was a kid hide and go seek, as I recall, I took it quite seriously.
Did kids fear you? Like if they cheat or try to cheat or maybe bend the rules a little bit, were you like on their shit?
Oh yeah. No, I was just a prick. It was like, I had some invisible rule book for hide and go seek, and they were violating, and I just was like a hide and go seek Nazi and just sucked all the enjoyment out of the game and everything because somebody violated some perceived, thing, peeking or counting. I wanted blindfolds involved. There was a whole procedure. I threw procedures, and I left to my own, I would have had forms eventually and just completely ruined it.
Well, I'm gonna get very deep on you here. That's because hide and go seek was not a game to you back then. You were just training for your destiny.
Yeah.
But here's my real idea. So, with these shows, we'd like to get more involved with our guests. I don't know if you've seen any of the skits that we do or any kind, they're ridiculous and stupid, but we want to get ridiculous and stupid with our guests. So I have this skit idea where the three of us will hide Mount somewhere and see if you can find him.
Now, how do we do this online?
Well, we'd have to do this in person. This would have to be a big production because I'm talking like we're going to hide him somewhere where we feel that it's difficult for you to find him. And it could be days, and maybe we might even forget where we hid him.
Oh, I like this game.
Now, if I can get Mount to reveal himself, does that count as a victory?
I mean, yes.
If you find him, you find him.
Like, what not hiding or convince him to show his hand type thing?
I think I will need to bait my traps with cheerleaders and barbecue is where I'm going.
It would depend on what level of comfort I was in. Like, if I was somewhere with a Wawa next door, like if you hid me in a Wawa, I could stay there forever.
we hide him in a DoubleTree with fucking room service.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We did this years ago. I shouldn't say this, but in the essence of your show, I'm just going to say something that'll bite me in the butt.
Don't worry, no one listens.
I feel about my show. No one's listening. So what happens is we're training with guys out with ghillie suits, and I couldn't find one of the guys. And there was a girl on the team, and I thought I knew where this guy was, and she had to urinate, and we're in the middle of wilderness and equal opportunity. And so I said, go over there. And I sent her over to the area where I thought the guy in the ghillie suit was. And so I said in the radio, I said, if you're out there, she's going to the bathroom near you. Avert your eyes. and I see one of the bushy mounds start to shift a little and turn,
Oh.
and I knew it was him. So that's why we get him out with just cheerleaders on pogo sticks with barbecue, and he will come out and reveal himself.
Well, look, I want to tell you something because Bounce dressed up tonight. He has two what he considers nice shirts. They're both the same color, same pattern, and same material. They're both red plaid flannel shirts. He wore the best of the two, the first one that he bought. Mm-hmm. So that's the only advantage that we're going to give you. We're going to dress him in this flannel red pattern shirt. And that's going to be the only advantage because he'll stick out like a sore thumb if you find the general area that he's in. But like, I just get this picture of like us putting mounts in an area and saying, look, you cannot leave this, you can move around within these parameters, but you cannot leave this basic area. And like a month goes by and he's just jumping around there in his underwear, suspenders, and a tattered flannel red shirt.
I was just going to say, in your scenario, there is a two-shirt wearing a mount that's abandoned somewhere, and I'm supposed to be so incompetent that I can't locate him with two flannel shirts on and no pants in an area.
Well, it would just be one of the two red flannel shirts.
We're
gonna hide him real good, Mark.
He can't stay hidden. This guy's got to be out amongst people. He's got to be interacting.
You'll just follow the reports of Sasquatch being sighted in a local wooded area.
Now, what brings you guys together? You guys are different people. Even though you know, if I were casting, you and Greg are similar, but you've got a mix, and you seem to always keep a mix of people on the show, even though it changes a little bit like shows do. What motivates you guys to keep doing this?
Well, let me ask the questions here, bub.
It'll work.
Now, that's a really good question. I'm a very collaborative person, and I realized a long time ago that the only way that I'm going to be able to put out great material, if you will, is that if I'm willing to collaborate with people that are different than me, whether it's a little bit different or a lot different, and to not be jealous of their talents if I don't have them, and not to be judgmental of what they do if it's different, because art is subjective, and the more we can create together, a more well-rounded product that attracts different people that enjoy different types of art, maybe at the same time, the more successful we're going to be.
Okay. As you're talking, I'm looking and I'm trying to get an impression from the pictures. I've got the 4 Hollywood squares here, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on in the background. Now Greg seems to be on the set of a morning show.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
What do you mean ridiculous?
It's like a 1980s school photo background.
Glamour shot.
Right.
That's what it is. He's actually right. It does look like a high school picture that you should have like one eye closed, you know, like My Name is Earl.
God, the photographer's coming up with some ridiculous nickname for you that you just makes you want to punch him. He calls you you're the fat piece of shit like me in grade school. You know, my stomach is halfway hanging out of the bottom of my shirt, and he's calling me Popeye like a fucking prick.
That is very specific.
That's the background that Greg has.
Now let me explain. I wanted to show these other guys what we could have. You know, as we move forward. You know, this is my attempt at professionalism. I'll tell you a funny story real quick though. We had a very important meeting with prospective clients who now are clients, and right in the middle, because the room I'm in is my daughter's old bedroom. That's where my computer and stuff is. And if this thing came down right now, there are bags of riffraff that I accumulate as I work up here. There's pictures of Scooby-Doo on the wall. It's a mismatched paint job. And right in the middle of our interview with these prospective clients, my beautiful backdrop, beautifully lit, fell down, and like a little piece of it was still standing up, and I just have this sort of mortified look, and I was like, that wasn't supposed to happen. And
Jeff, there's like Justin Bieber and a thong behind you on the wall.
Mounts is hiding back there.
I had to take that one down. That was too much. But yeah, Jeff mercilessly ridiculed me on, he just decided to turn on me right then and there. He's a bastard that way.
Yeah,
but
he's a bastard that way.
I will defend this to the end.
Of high school. Now on to the woman. I can't say anything because it's blurry. She's blurred it just enough where I can't get a fix on it. I can't lock in on it.
I'm actually painting my background currently.
What is Mount drinking?
Sprite out of the 2-liter because I couldn't find a cup.
Mounts is 38 years old and does not own a cup.
On to Mount here. Mount's got like a Helen Keller's attic thing going on there. And there is a confirmed ghost behind you. I've seen it twice now, Mount.
I wouldn't doubt it.
It's a safety ghost of some sort in orange. And then Jeff here's got some kind of pet bar thing going on.
It's my poor man's right. It's my poor man's wet bar over here, and the dog. Yeah, the dog goes nuts. Yeah, right. Well, she drinks the vodka when I'm not watching. That's the problem. That's why I had to unblur my background so I can keep an eye on her. But no, she really is. She's insane. She sleeps literally. She'll sleep all day if I let her, and then right around 8 o'clock she goes insane for about an hour and a half, and then crashes.
Well, it sounds like your dog is an alcoholic and depressed, and maybe
right. I've had her for 2 months and I broke her.
Yeah.
She's just the dog version of me.
And she's going white to vodka. It's because she doesn't want the hangover, the smell on her breath. She's serious. She's committed to it.
Right. Well, that's why she mixes it with seltzer.
Yeah, there you go. Canine alcoholism. There's a cause. Let's get behind and make some bumper stickers.
Well, the real problem is, and Pete is going to be after us, and we don't even have any listeners. But here's the thing. I'm getting so drunk myself that I'm pouring the vodka into her water bowl instead of water. I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just.
Now, are you drinking from the water bowl or is the dog? Because I'm wondering where this is going.
Sometimes both of us at the same time.
Yeah, that's not PETA. That's someone else.
What's Mark Hopkins' drink of choice?
I don't really drink, and it's not that I look down on people that drink. I really I kind of envy people that drink. I wish I drank more. I sometimes always say I'm thinking about drinking, and I don't know why I don't drink. I would drink once or twice a year, but when I drank like it was I drank like I was on another planet and I was in some competition to save the Earth, and I took it way too far, and I would just what was the last thing I had that was good? I drink a really nasty mix of stuff. I won a drinking contest years ago in Mexico, and you had to drink 13 tequilas to enter. And I won the contest, and I don't know if I won or lost. I woke up on the beach, but I had a trophy, and everything was intact. So that was kind of cool. But the last thing I drank I like was a drink called American Honey.
Oh yeah.
What's that?
I don't like that. It is
honey flavored. Yeah, honey flavored. Is it bourbon or whiskey? It's a bourbon, right?
I think it's a bourbon.
It's a honey flavored, but it's good. Yeah.
But I'm a color based drinker, which is not a good thing to be. I drink based on the color of things, so I just go blue. Give me some blue. I want some more blue. Give me some green. And that's not how you really do it. And the bartenders usually try and stop me because when I'm drinking, it's usually disgusting because I'm just mixing stuff. And I'm the kind of guy who goes, no, just leave the blender. I paid for the whole blender. Leave it. Don't keep reselling me the blender, you know. But no, I wish I was one of those guys that had a couple bottles back here, like you do, Jeff, and my drunken sidekick animal. I could sit back and take a capful and just relax. I don't know. I don't think I had the discipline for that because I would start experimenting, then I start doing my color things, and next thing you know, I'm drinking out of a dog bowl or something. I don't know where it goes.
With my drunken dog.
Right.
Who is by, I will point out, underage, even in dog years.
Wow, there's at least 3 agencies involved in the prosecution of whatever's going on there.
Do you watch movies like anything with a search and rescue element? And do you sit there? Are you able to enjoy the movie, or are you like, this is completely wrong? That would never happen. This is stupid, and be done with it.
No. I scream at the TV like you can hear me. I can't do it. I don't have the ability because
it bothers you.
Yeah, it becomes a game that I call point out everything they're doing wrong because they're morons. And I just start yelling at the TV, and Hollywood just trashes reality. What they're putting on the screen is not reality. What they call reality TV is not reality. Reality is the very presence of a camera alters reality. So it's real tough to get reality. You have to get reality with a zoom lens, because as soon as somebody puts a camera in in your face, you start, cleaning yourself up or whatever. It's not reality. And the reason is because we can't deal with reality. We can barely handle our reality. We don't want to see other people's reality. In fact, we only want to see the reality that they're calling reality. It's just people that are more screwed up than us that we can go, oh my God, I am not that bad,
Yeah.
That's the story of my life. When people ask me how I'm doing, I'm not that bad. When people ask me what I've accomplished in life, I'm not that bad.
Yeah, if you want to feel better about yourself,
are you right? Are you
morning and walk to Walmart,
right.
and come out the other side of Walmart and you go, I'm doing okay.
When people ask me if I'm good at sex or golf, my answer is I'm not that bad. That's a success to me. I'm fine with that. So here's what I want to. Well, first of all, you're already invited to the White Horse Company Christmas party, and we're getting you drunk, just the way it is. We'll get you drunk on blue or green or whatever the fuck color you're into that night.
I'm a blue guy myself. I like blue.
Right. But also, Greg and I are going to now. I'm going to say hire, but we're not actually going to pay anything. We're just expecting you to be a consult on any films that we do in the future that require any sort of search and element scene. We want to make it as realistic as possible.
Oh, absolutely. If you need anybody who has adulting skills, I am quite the adulterer, and I have the skills because I actually think that the lady got it.
She did, but she has herself muted, so we can't hear her laughing.
I got it. Yeah.
No, I think that I've had this problem where I actually have this problem in search and rescue where we've got people going back to what we said earlier is that we're literally having a problem where people are buying certifications and they're buying training and they have so much exposure that we used to I had to travel to Canada to get my initial training. And practically meet a guy with a patch and a hook and a bar in Laval, Quebec, Canada, and you haven't had a bar fight. You've had a Canadian bar fight. It's very polite. And I basically see more and more people are buying their certifications. They're getting their information online. They're thinking they have expertise. They bypassed any actual experience. They aren't going to get wisdom. And there's this need in what we do for adulting, and that's why you were asking about your movie. And I found that there's actual need to just talk to people about adulting and doing the things in an adult fashion instead of this quasi-adult thing we've put together where people are just really giant children,
Well, what you're saying there, it sounds like to me is that's when you said we have more information than ever, but less experience than ever. So when you say the adulting approach, you're talking about somebody who's actually lived it, that hasn't just Googled it or watched the videos on it or gotten the paper thin fake certification on it. Is that what you mean?
Right. It's and you don't have to have the litany of horrible experiences that I have, but you have to have some experience, and it can't just be. You've got a whole generation that just you can be telling them that I fell down a well today and had to climb out. And before you're finished saying what you're trying to say, they'll go, I saw a thing on YouTube where a guy was in a well and blah, blah. No, I'm talking about actual real things that happen to a human being. You're referencing something that you saw on YouTube. There's so many references to what other people do. They watch a video on somebody building a pyramid. They think they know how to build pyramids. I watch MASH multiple times every season. At no point did I think I was a surgeon. You know, I'd eliminate it. I had my own experience. She wants to say something.
I do. So back years ago when Casey Anthony's case was big, there was a search and rescue guy that was all over the news. Yeah, and I was going to ask, how do you feel about those kind of people?
Well, could I ask you first how you feel about him?
Oh, that guy is the ickiest human being ever. I mean, I think he clearly didn't care about anything but the fame. That's all he cared about.
Well, what makes you say that? I'm really interested in that for many reasons.
Well, there were so many. I mean, he was hired originally to find the baby, and then turned on the family, and then every single time you turned on the TV, there he was in his cowboy hat, plugging away his search and rescue. And I just don't. I just found him to be gross.
Well, I don't like there is a certain point where you have to work with the media. I don't like the carnival-like atmosphere that some people bring to it. And some people really just come to fundraise and to campaign and to showboat themselves. And I think that when it goes back to when you're turning on the family in any instance, even if it's a horrible situation like that, I think that's just wrong. And I've met and had a discussion with that gentleman that you speak of.
Really?
Yeah, it was short, and it would be a lot of beeps on a radio show. But I share a lot of your beliefs because I think that I want to believe, and this is based on nothing other than wanting to believe people are good. I want to believe that he started for the right reasons, but I think he got seduced by the wrong things, and I think that happens to many of us. And I don't think he had a good enough or a strong enough structure around him to help him righten his course and correct him. You know, because sometimes you need friends that say you should not wear those pants.
Right.
You know, and when I see people out in those pants, I go, oh, they don't have any friends. You know.
Right. That's so interesting because when you said people who get their certificate online or their credentials online or whatever, that's immediately what popped into my head. And I imagine there's quite a few search and rescues like that.
There's a lot of them, and I think one of the things that happened with there's a lot of people that get immersed in it because they were exposed to it, unfortunately. But I don't think that if your house burns to the ground, following the logic of many of these people, you would go out and start a fire department. Surviving the fire didn't make you an expert in fire. If you want to start an agency that helps the survivors of fires, that's different. You've got some experience, but you ain't no fireman.
Right.
And that's part of the problem I have with that mindset. Come on, everybody give me a question like that. Come on, guys.
That's
everybody. Mount. You're all dude up. Do something. Come on.
I got nothing.
Oh, God.
The question is so good.
I just can't stop thinking about his shirt.
Yeah.
So we have gone about an hour and a half, and unfortunately, the hosting site that we use only allows files so big because I could talk to you all night.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I want to give you the opportunity to, because you're right, you're not a flashy guy when it comes to the media, and you are, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are a nonprofit, right? Your organization's a nonprofit. You require on donations and things like that, right?
Well, we're actually an unprofit because we give our own money and lose it. So that's less than a nonprofit.
Right.
But yeah, no, you're right. We're a nonprofit, and we rely on donations, but we are vastly supported by our own members. So these people pay to help in the middle of the night, blah blah blah.
So not only are they volunteering, but they're paying their own money out of pocket. So what I want you to do, I want you to be just a little bit flashy. You've earned the right. You've put in the work with us. You've laughed with us. You've answered our questions. If people want to donate, people want to get involved in a way that maybe financially can help you guys out and contribute that way, because someone like me would not be a good member of the team. How can people do that? How can people help you guys out, donate, fundraise for you, whatever their strength is? How can they help you out?
There's a couple ways. They can donate on Facebook. I think we get donations through @GPSAR page. There's options to donate through there, and they don't take money out. They have a really good system for supporting nonprofits. They can go to www.gpsar.org, and they can donate. They can donate at PayPal, gpsar@gpsar.org. They can donate. They can help. We're always looking for. It's not just money. We're looking for good people. We're looking for space to train. We're looking for space. We struggle to find space. And one of the things that really gets me is I'm not as bothered by the people who don't care because they got their own things, and I'm not going to get involved with that. But I am bothered by people that obstruct people that do care. And as I encounter more and more of that as I get older, it's just I don't have time. Look, if you want to help missing people, and that's my thing, that's fine. But don't get in my way. Don't get in my way of doing it. Let everybody do their own thing. If Matt wants to wear 2 plaid shirts, you leave him the hell alone. Okay?
I'll never leave him alone.
No matter what anybody wants.
Let's make him a different color. A different color would be fine.
No.
I've got a select style.
He wants to be able to throw people off if he gets ripped off in a bar fight. So the guy's completely perplexed, rips the shirt off, he's standing there wearing the same shirt. The guy thinks time warp has happened.
That's right.
You wear 3 shirts, Mount. You wear 3, and you don't listen to him.
Right, he wears the 2 flannel shirts, and the chest hair counts as a shirt.
Thank you, Mark.
That's actually more of a sweater.
You be you.
And you also have a show that you do, a radio show that you do. I believe it's weekly. How do our listeners find that if they want to listen to more of you?
You go on iTunes and you look at the lowest rated show, and I think they're there.
Or right above you.
Yeah.
Might even be tied.
We're in the bottom of 3, and we hold court down there. No, it's Unsung Everyday People on iTunes, www.unsung.us. We talk to people about their passions, their careers, their lives, their choices. We had one of my favorite interviews was with the young man in the upper quadrangle here on the left with the lighter plaid on. We had a really good conversation there, and we talked about some big boy topics and we got into them without offending anybody and getting everybody to see a middle ground, and I thought that was good. I want to get them back on there. I want to talk to them again. I would love to talk about those topics some more because there's no more conversation in this world. It's if I disagree with you, you've got to be wrong so that I can be right, and I've got to rip you down. It can't be agree to disagree. And me and Greg are excellent at agreeing to disagree.
Yeah, you said that was your favorite quality about me is that we learned to disagree well, and it made our talks that much better. I quite enjoyed our show as well. I'll be back. Whether you change your mind about wanting me back or not, I'm going to be back. I've determined that I'm going to have a regular spot there before it's all over.
I've considered changing the format, and I've considered having a couple people that I get on regularly, that just come back that people gravitate towards because I really can't carry it because I just don't have the time or the personality. I set up to do it for 6 months, and it's been 4 years now, and it's just 4 years of a podcast is like a dog's age in the grand scheme of things.
I've aged like 20 years in the past year dealing with these fools.
You've had some pretty big name folks on there too, Mark. It wasn't just like you're interviewing the guy down the street. You had Deb Ryan on just recently, the newly elected DA of Chester County. You've had some relatively significant names.
Yeah, I've had chief federal judges, I've had district attorneys, I've had police chiefs, fire chiefs, I've had people from the media, all forms of media, print, radio, television, school teachers. And I've really found everybody's been good, but I really found I really like educators, journalists, and lawyers, and I never thought I would utter that last thing in my life. But what I found is that they are three professions that are passionate about their profession, and they know that it's a calling. Whereas the rest of us fumble around and decide whether you want to be an astronaut or if you want to be like a rock star. They know what they want to be, and they will starve to death to get there, and they're willing to commit to it. And the rest of us just don't know what we want to. We don't know what we want to be, and it's refreshing to see somebody with that dedication to something, and especially journalists and teachers, because they don't get paid. They don't get paid anything. And I had a great lawyer, and I had to talk with a great lawyer, and he pulled up in a Honda that was like 3 different colors, and I was like, this man doesn't have to pass any tests of righteousness with me. He's there. His multicolored Honda that's over 10 years old says that man is not sold out. As a matter of fact, maybe you should, because I think that you hit an age where you go, you know what? I'm going corporate. I'm selling out to the highest bidder. I will NASCAR myself up, and I want to live a life of leisure for my remaining years.
I can't wait to get to that point where I can make that decision. I'm hoping it's tomorrow. I can't wait to sell out. That's the only reason I'm doing this podcast, is to eventually sell out and leave these guys behind.
That's what everybody does now, though. Somebody comes up with some product. Mount comes up with something called Slugel, gives it a nice color scheme, puts it up.
Dude, he's on to you.
Something,
Shit.
Dude, he knows about Slugel.
and people buy it, and companies buy it just to get rid of it and cover it with web companies or whatever. You've got to come up with the next great thing. I don't know how you do it, because the industry that you're into is so fickle. The film industry, my dealings with them, they've been very fickle, and I don't know how you get out of that without putting a pin in the side of somebody's head or something, or punching someone.
Well, the problem is we're not good looking enough. None of us.
Whoa.
Except now.
Now change that shirt, and maybe we got a chance. That's what's holding us back.
Yeah, see, the big thing, the great thing about not being good looking is when you walk in a room, they go, "These guys got to be good." Yeah.
Good point.
But also, it's Mounts' shirt. I know you're an advocate for letting him wear 2 shirts, but look, we had this audition the other day, and they were like, "Mounts, we just need a normal person with 1 shirt," and he refused to take off his second shirt, and we didn't get the part.
Well, let me ask you a simple question here about Mounts and shirts. How many layers of fabric do you want between a clothes and a naked Mount?
Well, are we talking about for the clothes' sake, or?
I think that it's quite responsible of him to have his second layer on there.
All right.
Because
I have a feeling that he virtually punched you in the gut there, Mounts.
No, I agree. The more layers of clothing between me and every other human being is
and the air that we breathe.
Right.
I'm a layers guy. Okay. I rock 3 layers. You always keep a loaner set of clothes on your body in case you got a friend in a pinch that's around approximately the same size. Okay.
Right.
And it makes it makes it harder to get down to now, I've had once in the hospital where they said, "How do we get to the base layer of them?" We're peeling away. It's like they're just carving down and everything. I mean, Mount's probably the kind of guy that if he had his way, he would probably have a shower outfit that he wore. Okay, he likes his layers. I respect a man that likes his layers. Okay?
And plus, I'm bigger than most people, so anyone could wear one of my layers to keep warm if they needed it.
He's actually carrying clothes to help people on him. That's what everybody should be.
Mounts, you should have wore 2 pairs of pants to the live finale, and then we wouldn't have had to see Jeff lose his pants.
Well, that was more of a belt issue, I believe.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It would have been an extra belt.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I'm on 2 belts. I get a little weird there. And,
But 2 of the same color flannel shirt is not weird.
No, I think that's absolutely awesome. I like the Gomez Adams redundancy of his outfit choices. I'm the same way. I mean, my closet looks like a coal mine. It looks like Johnny Cash had an estate sale. So I'm with him on this. I mean, you should be able to just hit him up with a razor knife and just start peeling him off and just keep seeing the same plaid for like several layers.
That might be a future PIP skit.
Yeah, peel them out.
Peeling the layers of the mounts.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, we have taken up way too much of your time, but also Mounts has to go to bed. That's not the reason that we're signing off, though. We have a habit of saying that we're going to try and be within an hour, hour and a half, and we always end up at 2.5 hours.
Yeah, but this show is like all these podcasts. It's like a car sliding in circles on the ice. You don't know where it's going to go. You just try not to deploy the airbags.
Look, you hit the nail on the head. We never know where this is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
We have an outline, and I don't think we followed it once. But it's the perfect place to end this conversation. I do hope that there's many more. I think because we have a lot of crossover fans, listeners. I shouldn't even call them fans. They probably hate us. But we have a lot of crossover listeners from the Ever Evolving Truth, and a big portion of that base is involved with emergency services. So I think they're going to find you fascinating, and I think they're going to demand that you be on, if not Pookie in Paradise again anytime soon, definitely Moms and Mayhem, which is another one of our ridiculous podcasts. But I would love to see 3 women grill you. And see if you can come through the other end, because I've been through it, Sterner's been through it, and Mounts has been through it. We've also the same thing. It can be very intimidating.
Well, wait, what's the 3 women grilling thing?
It's
Leah hosts her own podcast that airs every Monday called Moms and Mayhem with 2 other lovely ladies, and they ask you questions and make you very uncomfortable, and it's fun, but it's also torture at the same time.
Oh,
yeah, you want to come on?
Bring it.
All right, cool, yay.
Arrange it to my agent, Greg. There.
Okay.
Your people call my people, and people get room.
We're actually just going to switch over to that show right now. It's the same fucking people involved.
Yeah.
It's just me doing women's voices.
He does them so well.
You've ruined something for me here, Jeff. You've ruined. I can't look at the Greg thing without thinking of the high school yearbook picture, and I just keep picturing the words under him. Think plastics.
Right. Right. I imagine him like sitting down and the photographer just being like, "Oh God." All right, Popeye, give us a smile.
There used to be a big corsage there or something, and
yeah. And then just Greg being so he goes, "Oh man, he called me Popeye. I am buff."
Yeah.
You've got Greg there with a great background, and it's very formal and everything. And then you've got Mount that's just so comfortable in his own skin. Right. He's like, you know what? If I wasn't a Lair fan, you guys lucky I'm wearing clothes.
Yeah.
No, there's no fucking drywall on the ceiling. The fucking mattresses in the living room.
In my dungeon.
Matt will stand up if we push him too far, and then we will all regret that.
He's going to be the first. Yeah, he's going to be the first one. The first.
Business casual there. I'm sure if he stood up, there would be a situation there.
Right. Well, look, hey, if you want an episode where Mounts gets naked, a few weeks ago we played Power Hour. It took him 10 minutes. He was already half naked.
Shirt off.
Yeah. So, all right, perfect place to leave off. Mounts naked. That's the lasting image of Mark Hopkins.
Well, the perfect place was actually 45 seconds ago, but you know, made
Mark, I want to thank you for coming on the show. You didn't have to do this. You're a busy man. You're an important man. And we really appreciate you shooting the shit with us. And not only did we get to learn about what you do, but we got to learn about who you are a little bit. And I think people are really going to appreciate that. So thank you so much for being here. Mark Hopkins, Greater Philly Search and Rescue.
Thank you for having me. Send me a copy.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. We'll send you the link for sure.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Mark. Have a great night.
See you, Mark.
Bye.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, let's face it, there was no ads. There's no sponsorships today. Maybe someday.
You could talk about the no-K.
We are, we're going to plug. Well, we'll plug that. If you want to plug that, that can be your plug. I'm talking about sponsorships. No one's giving us any money.
No.
And it's pissing me off. But it's also because we haven't told anybody that they can give us money, really. So I will say this. We are opening up sponsorships. Look for the actual details very soon for the new season of Teed coming out. So look for that. In the meantime, we're going to talk about what we learned today. And I want to start with Greg. Because he already knew a lot. He learned a lot from Mark already. I want to know what he learned new this episode. It doesn't have to be from Mark. Maybe he learned about mounts. Maybe you learned about Leah. Maybe you learned about me. Maybe you learned about yourself. But tell us what you learned today.
I learned that the world, including you bastards and including Mark, the world is not ready for my backdrop, the beauty of my backdrop. There's a lot of jealousy happening here. There's a lot of false
claims. There was
claims
zero jealousy.
There's a lot of false claims about its aesthetic value, and I feel offended. And you know, in this day and age, if I'm offended, somebody better fucking act. You guys are off the air tomorrow because I'm fucking offended.
Just wait, Greg, until my green screen shows up.
I was just going to talk about that.
I can't wait.
That would be great if you did these low quality video recordings with a green screen and we just superimpose shit behind it.
He just really ordered one.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Glad.
It's from Wish, so it'll be here in a year. But
and it'll have coronavirus because it's from China.
Well, it's already here, folks.
Right. I already got coronavirus from eating Chinese food, so.
Oh, okay.
Mounts, what did you learn today? And I hope it's that you learned that you cannot get coronavirus from eating Chinese food.
Oh, right. I learned that Mark is a big fan of mine.
Which and was your shirts.
And my shirts. And I should start wearing both my shirts at the same time.
What will you wear the next day?
Nothing. I'll just peel the one off. Oh. I'm going to buy 7 of the same colored shirts and then just daily take.
I got you. You've been inspired to buy more of the same exact style, color, and material shirt.
Well, I did actually buy 3 new plaid shirts. One's like a white kind of shirt, and I have 2 blue ones. I didn't want to say that to Mark. I didn't want to upset him.
No, he was really happy just talking about the 2 red ones.
Yeah.
That was enough for him. Leah, what did you learn?
I learned that I need to be concerned about Allison's mental health, and we need to look into doggy rehab.
Right, she's deeply depressed. She's like 11 in dog years, and she's already started drinking. I've allowed this to happen.
Yeah, he's just sitting there.
I didn't realize. I didn't even think. Well, she's not even 21 yet in dog years. She shouldn't be drinking. I just thought,
Let her.
I had a new drinking buddy. But yes, it is. She does follow that like depressed, like if it was a human and they slept till 3 or 4 in the afternoon, got up, were active for a couple hours, and then crashed again immediately, you would be 302ing that person.
Yeah, you would.
You'd be concerned that they were going to kill themselves. Maybe I need a doggy therapist. I don't know.
We should look into that. We should get one on the show.
I learned that we are never going to be able to do a show under 2 hours ever again. This is serious. A little behind the scenes teat. I will tell you that every episode will be right around an hour and a half. We haven't even recorded the roundtables yet, but we will, and they will most likely be an hour and a half. Mams gets longer every fucking week.
It does. I can't help it. Robin just won't shut up.
And then there's this fucking show, which, if you remember all the way back to when it was Rick, myself, and Mounts, we talked about, is 45 minutes too long?
Yeah.
By the time we sign on and even start the actual show, it's already been 45 minutes of recording.
I would like to talk to other podcasters and see if they have this problem. Because
they don't.
When I brought Robin and Amanda on, they were like, how do you guys talk for 90 minutes? How does that? And I was like, I don't know. It just
And then it's turned into 90 minutes twice.
Right.
In one sitting.
And we don't talk about anything important.
Oh.
Seinfeld is very proud right now. So let's talk about the burning question. If you were following our social medias, there was a great buzz already on to the next possible scandal coming up here. And I don't know if this person is doing this for attention or they're really concerned. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Leah had some, take care of some family business last week. So she couldn't be on the show. Mm-hmm. So we had another White Horse person who's actively involved with the company. In fact, he's the COO of the company, not quite at the level of vice principal.
I'm working at it, though.
Now it's just created himself as the most important position. But we had him. I said, Greg, can you do me a favor? The show is more dynamic when there's 3 voices instead of 2. Would you sit in for Leah this week? And he graciously accepted the opportunity, and we had a wonderful show. And then I was busy and lazy, and I didn't edit it right away. So it came out a little bit late. Mm-hmm. Right? So it came out on Saturday, I believe. And by Saturday night, Leah had already posed the question, is Greg gunning for my job? And then even more insulting, she was like, do I even want the job?
That's not how I said it. Very taken out of context.
Please put it in context for us.
Well, that Greg is so good at being on the air, right? That he could totally have my spot because I enjoy listening to him. I think that's what I said.
So you're taking one for the team here. You're trying to enhance the listening pleasure of our fans.
Yes, I think Greg is so good that he needs his own platform. But if you don't want to give him that, because I get it, he's gonna totally take over, then he can have my spot on
this
show.
Reeks.
Of what?
This reeks of ungratefulness.
How am I ungrateful? I'm being so kind.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna lay the truth on you. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. So first of all, this, if anything, if you answer any of the burning questions on our social, we need you to answer this burning question. This is the burniest of burning questions that we've had so far. This is scandalous. You are witnessing a team breaking up,
It's so
right?
bad.
before your listening ears. So Greg, go ahead and answer the burning question.
Well, here's what happened. Everything is the whole thing's true. Okay, I'm gunning for the job. Here's what happened. I was invited on to Leah's podcast, the Moms and Mayhem podcast, and I have to say, I went on to that. I went in. It was like when a boy has his first sexual conquest, and they said, "I give you the boy, bring me back the man." Well, I went into the Moms and Mayhem podcast, and I was a humble man. I was grateful just to be there. And Leah
Someone might even say a defeated man.
I was a defeated man. I was broken inside in many ways, but I went in there, and they were so complimentary. Leah kept telling me what a genius I was and how wonderful I was, and I got a big head. I got to admit it. I got an ego about it, and I started strutting around the house. My wife was disgusted the next day just watching me strut around the house like a banny rooster, and So what happened was I kept this rolling in my head, and I said, I think I am a little bit bigger than the whole operation. I think everything she said was true. So then what happened was Jeff sent me a very insulting memo. In addition, he plays it off all innocent now, where he's like, I graciously reached out to him, and I was like, can you do me a favor, buddy? And I was like, no, what it said was that not only was he going to allow me to be on, but because other names were taken and because I had a virtual privilege of being a temporary host, that I would be the fucking foot of the pook. He said, that's going to be your name from now on. So I decided to stage an insurrection. So I called Mounts late that evening, and I said, Mounts, look, you and me, we carried that show together, okay? Every time we quoted Hamid, you and I put so much spirit into it. Every time Jeff recited something, he was like, I'm Hamid, and this is my restaurant, and the people came in and shit. And we did such a better job, and I tried to stage a hostile takeover of the whole thing. And then somewhere, and I think Mounts might have burned me on this one, I think he went back to Jeff and told him what I was proposing. So I started receiving these very threatening, cryptic texts. One was like, you couldn't wear Leah Kasari's miniskirt for even an hour. Okay, she's too big for you. The show's too big. And then another one was, I just demoted you to the asshole of the pook. It was getting really mean. Okay, and then like even Mounts' rainbow suspenders couldn't support. You couldn't even use them to support his rolled up thong whitey tighties. You're not on our level at all. So it's time for you to get the fuck back in line. And I have to say it. Jeff humbled me over text. He shamed me, and I come now back to this show tonight a defeated man, the broken man I once was, and all my plans of insurrection have gone up in smoke. And I'm just happy to be here now.
I have two things to say. One, Mounts has been texting somebody during that entire monologue.
I'm not.
He is the mole. He was the mole.
He's looking at his phone. Maybe he's playing Pokemon Go again. I don't know.
No.
The second thing I have to say about that is I forgot what I was going to say about it. No, everything you said happened exactly like that.
I felt I had to tell the truth.
You did, and it's fair. But the real scandal here is that Leah just wants to leave the show.
I didn't say that.
She said those were her exact words.
Not what I said.
Is that what you guys read? Is that what you guys saw on the social media?
I felt that was the message that she wanted to get across. Yes.
Right. She almost saw it as like, Mams is getting a little bigger.
Right.
Right. They have their own audience, and she wants to get away from Pookie.
I listen.
Just go out on her own.
That is.
Well, let me tell you, Missy.
Not the case.
It's not an easy world out there out on your own.
I would be willing to.
You remember your roots.
I would be willing to share the spotlight, is what I'm saying.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's what I'm saying.
so lucky that you're willing to share your spotlight.
Right? Right?
Listen.
It's very kind of me.
I will
do that.
I'll end Mams right here.
I'm so sorry. Please don't do that. Then you have to deal with Robin if you ended that, and I don't think you want to do that.
Well, maybe I'll make Sterner the host of Mams.
Yeah, you're gonna get me cocky again. Don't do it, okay? It's ruined me as an individual.
All right. Mounts, what do you think? The burning question. I don't even.
Yeah, what is it?
I'm not even sure if I actually read what the actual burning question is. The burning question is Sterner gunning for Leah's job on PIP, or is she just being paranoid? I think Sterner pretty much laid it out. I mean, we should have had him go on.
Yeah, sorry, I jacked that up. But he was clearly the one that informed you of my shenanigans, so he knows. He fucking knows.
I have take offense to that. I am not a narc or a turncoat or whatever that would be. I am not that.
That's weak.
That's next week's burning question. If you could answer this week's burning question.
Yeah.
Next week's burning question is Mounts a turncoat?
I'm not a turncoat,
right?
Motherfucker.
So this week's burning question
is Sterner. Yes, he is gunning for the job.
Right.
I think
he openly admitted.
But Leah is also paranoid.
Well, that's very true.
So a yes on both.
Yes on both.
But why would she be paranoid if she openly admitted to not wanting to be on the show anymore? Saying, fuck this shit. I got my own bigger show.
Mm-hmm.
This is an annoyance to me. We're up. It's 19 minutes before 1 o'clock on a Sunday, and we're still up doing this garbage. We have better guests on Mams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow we have a huge guest.
Look, here I'm going through this, and now you're plugging the show right now. Fuck out of here.
Just tomorrow's episode. After that, fuck them. Come to.
That was an artful dodge, Leah.
Or shit. So, Leah, why don't you answer your own burning question? Is Greg gunning for your job, or are you just being paranoid?
Well, neither. Because I think everything I said was taken totally out of context. That's my answer to the burning question.
There were your words.
But if I think that he is gunning for anybody's job, I think it's Jeff's job.
You're trying to turn the two of us on each other.
I'm just tearing everybody apart from the inside. Wait, no.
Or is he looking to go to another White Horse Media company?
The Pennsylvania chapter?
The Pennsylvania branch.
I'm out of this conversation right now.
Hey, I hear they're also not paying anybody, so it would be a lateral move.
Yeah, but as
I feel like there might be a taken on a little more debt than even we did.
As unemployment lines go, that would be like the Bush League unemployment line compared to ours.
Well, here's how I'll answer the burning question. You remember where you got your start there?
I remember.
Remember, you didn't even know how to use Google Drive until I came along.
I still don't really know how to use it all that well.
You didn't even know how to mess up editing before I came along. You didn't even know how to not be able to edit. You didn't even know that you didn't know that you couldn't edit.
I didn't even know that you could do a podcast without being like...
It just appeared.
Yeah.
You're famous.
Yeah, you're famous. You get a podcast.
There's just an automatic recording of you talking in general to people. It gets put onto this thing called iTunes.
What I thought.
No, it's a weird fucking medium. It really is.
What, that people are sitting here listening to us have conversations about nothing? Yeah, it's really fucking weird.
And that you can just listen to this anytime you want. And there's also like 900,000 of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, if everybody in the world listened to podcasts, that would be plenty of the pie to go around for all 900,000.
Yeah, right. If like half of the population of the world would listen to podcasts, it would be plenty.
Talk about some 1 minute mind benders. Just thinking about that.
That's yet to come, but that'll be one of them.
Right. And there's plenty of room for that one too. That won't squeeze anybody out. If everybody listens to podcasts. So what I'm really saying here is share this shit with the people that don't know what a podcast is. So let's move on to what pisses us off. Mounts, you know what? I want to go to you first because this is a monumentous occasion in Pookie in Paradise history. I sent out these outlines almost every week. Not every week, but almost every week. And I always, like, when we get to like the burning question, sometimes I'll write out my answer. I always write out my what pisses me off so I don't forget it, right? And I always, and in the beginning, I encourage everybody. I said, look, this is Google Docs. You can add what you want to, and don't be afraid to add your own notes to anything, within the outline, but especially the end of show segments.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time ever in a year and a half that someone has written additional notes. It happened to be Mounts. He wrote out something that pisses him off so he wouldn't forget. So it's obviously important to him.
It's the second time.
But here's the thing that really gets me is that sometimes we'll get to these end of show segments and the people, I won't name any names, will be like, oh, I don't have anything that pisses me off today.
I'm in a good mood. I can't help that.
Yeah, but chances are you weren't in a good mood all week.
In
fact, there's 100% chance that you were not in a good mood all week. I know you. I've known you for fucking 2 decades.
I'm living in the now.
The entire week that you've been in a good mood.
Hey, Leah brings the light. That's her role. She brings the light.
Thank you, Sterner.
Positive over here. Bullshit. So Mounts, go ahead and well, you don't read it. Make it your own.
Right.
But go ahead and tell us what pisses you off.
All right. So where I work, certain shifts I have to work in a cafeteria where people order their food, and what irritates the absolute shit out of me is when someone orders a hamburger, and then when I go to give them the hamburger they ordered, they say, "Oh, you didn't put any cheese on that," or "Oh, where's the cheese?" I'm like, "Well, you ordered a hamburger. That would have been a cheeseburger." And then they look at me like I'm the idiot who didn't put cheese on their fucking hamburger.
That's infuriating. I agree. Here's maybe the deepest philosophical question we'll ever ask on this show. And let's weigh in real quick. Here's a bonus burning question. Should hamburgers automatically come with cheese? And if you don't want the cheese, have to say no cheese? Or should they come without cheese? And if you want cheese, have to ask for cheese? There can only be one way.
No.
This should be mandated by the federal government how you order your burgers. So let's go around.
They're two separate things. A cheeseburger is a cheeseburger. A hamburger is a hamburger. Order the right way or deal with it. That's my answer.
I would agree.
A terrible answer.
I would agree.
I hate it. It's a horrible answer.
It's a good answer.
It's a horrible answer.
No, you would. It has to be a burger, and if you want cheese, you say cheese.
Horrible answer. Cheese is amazing. If you don't want cheese on your hamburger, you're a fucking Russian. You're a fucking communist. So it should be automatically comes with cheese. And if you don't want cheese, you say no cheese, please.
If the name hamburger though.
No. Look, it's just called a hamburger. That's just a name that someone came up with. And then one day they're like, oh, cheese is awesome. Let's try it on this hamburger. And then someone called it a cheeseburger. The fact of the matter is, it was so good. It was so perfect. It's such the perfect marriage of foods that a hamburger should automatically come with cheese.
I think you're losing this conversation.
And if you don't want cheese, you say no, thank you, no cheese. And then you are beaten and tortured and thrown in a federal prison for the rest of your life because you are a fucking communist if you don't want cheese on your hamburger. There should be no question as to whether cheese is being put on that hamburger. So why have two separate orders?
Because some people don't like cheese. They're
those
two
people are not
things.
people. Is what
but
I'm
they're
saying.
two separate
Those people
things.
do not belong in a restaurant ordering American food.
The lactose intolerant among us should not be able to publicly congregate at restaurants any longer.
Lactose intolerant people. Look, I'm lactose intolerant. Most people are. I'm still going to eat ice cream and cheese.
We'll still do it, sure.
Exactly. So if that's your reason, is that you're lactose intolerant, again, you are a communist Russian and you belong in a federal prison.
I don't think we're changing his mind on this one.
I don't either.
I will go down fighting to the death. Mark said he loves you because you agree to disagree. Fuck that. Not on this. I will not agree to disagree. I am right. You are wrong.
My son is strange. He loves cheese, but does not like cheese on hamburgers.
That's how Nina is.
He is a communist Russian.
He'll eat the cheese separately.
He is an imposter. He infiltrated your family and is trying to take you down.
I still
teach him by the time he becomes a man to automatically like cheese on his burger. It is not an option.
I always sneak cheese in his hot dogs, and he hates it. I refuse to not buy. I refuse to not buy cheese dogs.
I'm sorry. I got real with you there. It sounds to me like you are trying to force this lifestyle on him. So I do apologize. I'm glad you are doing your part. You are a true patriot.
You said his son was a communist Russian.
Well, he is. But Mounts is trying to turn him.
Make him wear American flag clothing around the house.
Forcing cheese onto his burger. Dad, I don't like cheese. You will eat this.
And watch Rocky 4.
Yeah, right. Not only do you hate this character, but you also hate the real Dolph Lundgren. Sterner, what pisses you off?
Well, I'm going to make this short and sweet. My beloved wife, Abby, has almost been killed twice in the last week by some pathetic son of a bitch that should be taken off the planet in a car, looking at their electronic devices with the drooling expression of a special ape. And they have veered into her lane or almost T-boned her on 2 different occasions this week. The wife and mother of our household was almost taken out of existence by some fucktwit looking at their video that they couldn't look up from. So here's all I'm going to say. It's not going to be a mass shooting. But when I go postal, when I finally do lose it, I've been carving a special club in my basement in my darker moments. I'm going to get it nice and perfect. It's going to be the perfect blunt killing device. And I'm just going to go up to any cars where I see a motorist staring at their phone, even if the car's not moving. If they're staring at their phone with that special ape drooly expression, I'm going to know it's one of those fuckers, and I'm just going to club them to death right then and there to take them out of the game because they are a non-value-added piece of garbage, and I feel like I have the cosmic right to do so. So it's those fuckers that are pissing me off right now.
I'm with you on that 1,000%. And technology today should be able to lock a phone. So as soon as you get in the car, it should lock your phone. You should
like scramble
look at it. Yeah.
I'm going to disagree. I disagree. I think you should be able to stare at your phone.
I think everybody's life should be risked because I can't answer my Facebook notification.
I just added 2 pictures to my 2 club list.
Right. I totally agree with you. And look, I'm not going to lie. There's been times where I've looked down at my phone and I shouldn't have. But what the real thing I wanted to say is Greg is the only person, including myself, who takes what pisses us off really serious to get out what is pissing him off. Like I completely thought out my next week, and I'm not going to be looking at my phone ever for the next week at least. Like I made that goal for myself while Greg was explaining how he's going to kill me if I forget to do something.
And you're in another state.
Yeah, that's actually why I keep getting pulled over with a suspended license, so I don't drive. I can't drive.
Yeah, no, Florida won't save you. I'm a half club will travel man myself.
I still got a club on a plane. It'll change after you beat me unmercifully with it. Leah, what pisses you off?
The coronavirus pisses me off, but not the virus itself.
How many times have you thought you had it?
This is the kind of shit I'm talking about. So,
because we know when this first started, you immediately thought you blew your nose, or
coronavirus,
or you went to school. You saw someone's brat kid there with a runny nose, and you were like, "Holy shit, it's the coronavirus."
So
that was your first thought. Admit it right now before you go on.
Okay, so yes, but I also have in my family weird thing. Mad cow disease is like hereditary. Okay, so it's a thing in my family. Go ahead, laugh. So, so I know that the media blows this shit out of proportion, like for a fact, right? Like I know for a fact that like when they were saying that everyone was going to die from mad cow disease, I knew you weren't because I knew the facts about it. So this whole corona scare thing, I don't buy it. Like, I really don't think it's as bad as the media makes it out to be. And I think that they're out to drive me crazy because I'm still paranoid and scared about it, but I know it's probably nothing. And it pisses me off.
Well, let me just say, and I noticed this during Mark's interview as well, that what I love about having Sterner on the show, I know he's drinking warm, cheap rum and cola, generic cola brand, and he doesn't know enough to mute it as he's pouring his drink, so you can hear when he's having another. And I love that. It's really funny. It really fits in.
No, I purposely didn't mute it that time because Mounts commented on it last time, and that's why as I was pouring, I went like that.
Yeah,
because I was hoping he was looking in my direction.
But to get serious for a second, and look, it's easy to say that the media blows things up. Yes, they do things for ratings. They are selling advertisements. If they're competing with other 24-hour news stations who are reporting the same shit, how are they going to make theirs better and more exciting? And we know that people feed off of disaster. So they are making this into a disaster. Yes. But this whole media is the enemy of the people has gotten very dangerous because of that statement where you say, I don't trust the media. Look, the fact is that the flu kills more people than the coronavirus has killed so far. However, there is usually some sort of semi-effective flu virus or flu vaccine. We haven't had this strain of the coronavirus for an entire year yet. We don't know. It hasn't gotten around the whole country yet. We don't know what it's capable of 100% yet. And I think the real concern is how much faster this seems to spread than the regular flu. So I think it's important that you have to take into consideration that the media is looking for ratings. However, you cannot do that at the expense of how serious this is. All science points to the fact that it's not going to be an asteroid that kills us off. It's not going to be nuclear war. It's going to be a viral pandemic. Is this the one? Probably not. However, with how contagious this seems to be, they're saying, and this is not coming from the media, this is coming from the experts, that this could affect 70 to 90% of the world's population. Even if only 2% of those people die, think about the number, how many people are dying from it. We're talking hundreds of millions of people.
Jeff, our government has it completely under control, 100%. It's going to be gone in 3 days. Don't you worry.
Well, I'll touch in with one quick thing here. I agree with both Leah and Jeff in a way, because here's the deal: if the real life concern level should be, let's say, 6, the media, especially let's say right now in politically charged times, if you're a liberal media outlet, the real concern level is going to feel like an 8, even if it's a 6, because if any level of panic is caused and stocks go down and things like that, you can use that for politically advantageous reasons. So to think that the media never toys with the facts is pretty ludicrous. But to think that you can't believe them at all, or that there's nothing to see here, that would be too far on the other side. So that would be kind of the balance way to look at it.
And even like when people say that this is just a liberal media trying to sink Trump is so dangerous, because that is not the case.
Yeah,
just would be the problem word there. Just would be the problem word.
Right. And the thing is, these idiots believe it so much that they are willing to pretend like it doesn't exist. They're going to be the ones that spread this virus to dangerous levels.
But here's my thing with that. Like, H1N1 in 2009 was going to kill everybody too. You know what I mean? It feels like every couple years there's this huge pandemic. And I don't know. I think my point is I'm almost like immune to it. It's like mass shootings. Like, at first it was scary, and now it's kind of like, really, another one?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, look, I totally get what you're saying. But I think it's also a testament to how amazing our the response teams to this are. Look at what Obama did with Ebola. That's a virus that has a much higher kill rate, mortality rate. Mm-hmm. And if that spread the way this is spreading, we'd almost certainly be done for as a society. But the handling of that emergency was so good that nobody died from it here in this country, and very few died from it in the countries where it seems to pop up. Now, the handling by this administration, where he basically fired the entire, virus response team, pandemic response team, and now it has invaded our country. People have died from it. Mm-hmm. And it's not going away anytime soon. So this idea that the liberal media is trying to tank the stock market, he did it to himself, because he's a petulant child that can't seem to admit when he does something wrong or defer to experts. This is his own doing. This is what's happening. This is what's a reality in life. The reality is 100,000 people plus have been infected with this virus. Several thousand have died from it. And there's no end in sight. Those are the facts. And the media reporting those every night, they're not doing anything wrong. They're doing their job. The narrative behind it, yeah, you can argue that all you want. But find a news outlet that you like that reports facts that maybe doesn't give you the narrative that you dislike. But don't be a fucking idiot and pretend like this doesn't exist.
This won't be the one that gets us, though, Jeff.
I don't think so either.
Far into the future, I would say.
I don't think so either. But it shows you how possible it really is, and maybe how it could happen at any time. The dangers of making just one or two small mistakes are real, and we're seeing them play out right now in front of us.
Yeah, the idiots will be the ones in the long ahead, hopefully future. The idiots will be the one that guarantee the outbreak is successful.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah. So, this narrative that the media is the enemy of the people is very dangerous. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'm not saying you have to believe every word. I'm not saying you can't cut through the narrative but facts are facts.
Do your own thinking, though. Do your own thinking.
Yeah, do your own thinking and do your own research. Like, because Fox News says it's true doesn't mean it is. But
and comparing the flu, which has a different strain every year and kills a different amount of people every year, comparing the flu, just saying, well, that kills more people. Yes, that's true. But you're comparing apples to fucking hot dogs. The two aren't mutually exclusive. This is a completely different threat than the flu that we worry about every year. Completely different threat, different way, different type of, it's transmitted very similarly, but the level of how contagious it is different, so, and they talk about a lot of people make the mistake of just comparing straight up numbers. Well, the flu killed 300,000 people this year. Yeah, but it also infected, 3 billion people. This one has infected 100,000 people and it's killed several thousand. Can't ignore it. The people that are ignoring it make it worse. And with social media, they spread this narrative, like this, they spread the narrative, and people are like, "Oh yeah, well, that makes sense." It doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
Well, and that's the problem, is the narrative. The media shouldn't have a narrative. There should not be a narrative in news. Like, there shouldn't be.
We've lost that.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's
totally...
dangerous. That's the danger for me. It's not necessarily that they're lying. It's the narrative, and that changes everything, and it's dangerous.
Well, in my mind, you can't be too careful, you know? Like, so they're telling you to wash your hands and
right.
you know, don't sneeze on people. Yeah, it's common sense, but there's these people that are like, "Oh, fuck them. They hate Trump. That's why they don't want me to sneeze on people."
Yeah.
And these idiots are going to go to a fucking buffet, a Golden Corral, and purposely sneeze under the sneeze guard just to own the libs.
Right.
That's the world we live in right now. And that fucker will have coronavirus because these idiots will gather in a big gathering, laugh about it, while they're fucking humping each other's legs and coughing in each other's mouths.
Well, I haven't washed my hands since I've heard about the coronavirus out of spite. So
out of spite. You want to own the libs, right?
Yeah, I'll show them.
It doesn't exist.
Fucking libs.
Well, we've gotten long-winded on every single segment, every single part of the show. So what pisses me off? I'm gonna lighten it back up here. in a way. So I go into a Subway yesterday, right? I haven't been in a Subway forever. I was craving a Subway sandwich. It's like 9:30 at night. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I just want to eat the sandwich right then and there. I want to inhale it like a fucking fat pig, and I want to go home. And I walk into this Subway. And again, I just moved here, so I don't know like the quirks of all these little places and stuff. You know, I don't know what the right Subway to go is. There's like 12 of them, you know, in the immediate vicinity. I go into what I believe is the worst one. I go in there. Apparently, it's the busiest one, and there's only one guy from like 8 to 11. Well, I mean that's a long period of time to be alone, and I can imagine it gets pretty busy at 8, 9 o'clock, right? So I walk into the Subway. There's a couple people ahead of me. They get their sandwiches, they leave, and then there's a guy waiting behind me. This one guy, he's doing his best, but he's taking forever, and he's a real chatterbox. And finally, he turns his attention to me and this last guy in line, and he's like, "Hey there, how you doing?" And I try to be nice to people. I don't really want to be all the time, but I made the mistake of saying, "Hi, how you doing?" I should have just said hello and just ended the conversation right there. But I said, "Hi, how you doing?" Well, wouldn't you know, that's an invitation to tell me about his whole fucking life.
Uh-huh.
And he goes like, here's what his answer was. He goes, "Well, I'm doing a lot better than last night." I'm like, "Oh, what the fuck?" Here we go. I knew it was over then. I knew he was going to tell me about last night. I don't give a fuck about last night.
Just make my sandwich.
And I go, "Oh, well, that's good. I was hoping that was just going to be enough for him." No, he's like, "Well, yesterday it was like the two of you in line, but there was also 14 other people. And it was 10:30 and we closed at 11. I didn't get out of here until 1:30.
Wait.
I was here by myself.
30 to serve 14 additional people?
Yeah, because he was talking to them all.
He was talking to them all. And it takes forever to make a sandwich at Subway. I don't know if that's
I know you think.
My God, it's like, and then I'm like, of course. Then I have to chime in with, and he didn't. And then it went over his head. I was like, "Well, it's a shame you don't get paid per sandwich." And he goes, "What?"
Oh.
The life of a sandwich artist isn't as easy as it looks.
That's right. They do call them sandwich artists there, don't they?
Right.
Oh, what fuck thought that up?
That's why when anyone ever says, "Hey, how's it going?" I always hit them with, "At least I'm not dead," or like, fucking great, like sarcastic. So they're like, "Oh, I just wanted to say hello. I didn't really want to get into a deep conversation."
Yeah.
But that's the reverse side of that. So
you're saying that it works if you just say, "At least I'm not dead." They're like, agree with you, and then it's done. And there's no more talking.
If you say something that leads it to believe it's not like, oh, I'm great. Like, oh man, let me tell you.
My go-to is living the dream. People just sort of like, and then it's over.
Yeah.
Why did I ask this fucking?
That's the only defense I'll give this guy, is that at least he wasn't just going through the motions and didn't hit you with living the dream or some shit like that.
Yeah.
At least, even though he made you suffer him, at least he was really responding.
Well, look, and I don't even mind like small talk so much, like true small talk, like, oh, it was a nice day out there. I can handle that because it doesn't require me to think about a response. This guy is talking to me like I know subway protocols. Oh, I'm here by myself for the last 3 hours of the night. Every night. And I'm like, I really want to just like lose it on and be like, man, I don't know. Is that how Subway does shit? Like, is that how it is everywhere?
Here's the thing, though.
Like, I don't know how it works here. Is that normal or not? Like,
you're now in the South. And Mounts, when you go to Myrtle Beach, did you ever notice that people are just, they talk to you more?
Florida isn't the South. It's there's so many people that moved here from the North. It's not the South anymore.
Dude, Myrtle Beach. When I lived in Florida, I everything is like 2 steps slower.
Yeah, it's slower. They're
because the average age is 87.
Right.
But they're kinder. Like they talk, they're friendly. And you can't get used to that growing up in Pennsylvania. Like if
listen, I was out in the Midwest. I saw it there too.
Yeah,
it's the same
I hate it.
Look, I hate it too. I'm telling you, it's not friendly. It's all passive aggressive.
Yeah.
It's not friendly.
Yeah.
The opposite of friendly. They want to fucking kill you. You're a Yankee. They hate you.
Yeah. Just a heads up, my laptop has 8 minutes left until the battery dies. I don't know where the cord is.
We have at least another 3 hours worth of episode to record.
Oh my god! I'll just hop on my phone.
Look, let's no, that's the perfect reason to end. This has gone on. This recording is 3.5 hours. I don't know.
How are you
an hour
edit
from this.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Just put.
Now you know why. Now you know why the show's late every week. Mounts, what do you got to plug?
Nothing. Good night.
Great. Turner, you have anything to plug tonight?
I think that I just earned myself and never come back to Pookie with this 3 hours and 40-minute broadcast.
That's a great plug. Leah, what do you got to plug?
I don't have anything, because if you listen to this show, you know what I want you to do. So do it.
Right, it's all the same listeners anyway.
Yeah.
Check out our Facebook, our Instagram. Check out our YouTube channel. Go over there, watch some shit. Check out Mark's show. If you can spare a couple bucks, maybe help out Greater Philly Search and Rescue. Go check out their website. Go check out their Facebook page. Volunteer if you can. Help them out. Very interesting people. The whole team we've gotten a chance to get to know a little bit. They're very nice. They're awesome, and it's be a really, really great experience. Different way to donate your time. We want to thank all of you for listening. I don't know if there's going to be a show next week because it might take you 2 to 3 weeks to listen to this one. But if there is, we'll see you next week.